Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope everybody had a good Father's Day weekend, and hope everybody, and there's a lot going on, obviously with the World Cup, but hopefully you got a chance to watch the U.S. Open. And what do you think? Did you enjoy the Open? I got to tell you, I love the U.S. Open. I like it better than Masters, better than the PGA. It is my favorite golf tournament of the year. And why is it my favorite golf tournament of the year? Because it's tough. And Shinnecock played tough this weekend. So when it was all said and done, congratulations to Wyndham Clark for now being a two-time winner of the U.S. Open. But when it's all said and done and the tournament's over, there were three players, Wyndham Clark, Sam Burns, and Tom Kim, that posted scores under par. You had three more that shot par over the 4 rounds, which means the rest of the field was over par. And again, I love to see the best golfers in the world have to struggle, have to battle. And look, and going into the day, it was Wyndham and Scottie Scheffler in the final pairing. Wyndham struggled. He had a hard time finding fairways, hit some not so great shots, but Scottie never really got anything going. I think if he had and he had put some pressure on Wyndham Clark, things may have ended differently. Maybe not. It ended up being Sam Burns that provided the pressure, but a perfect example. On the 7th hole on Sunday, Scottie Scheffler puts one in the bunker. He's short-sided, hits his bunker shot, lands just on the fringe, and rolls back into the bunker. And I'm not saying that it makes me happy to see that, but, and I'll talk about my golf weekend in a little bit. So often these guys make everything look just so easy that every once in a while, and I know that they've got to really work hard to make these courses tough. It's fun to see them in tough situations. And I really do think that the U.S. Open tests the mental fortitude of the golfers, because it is a grind, start to end, and that's not easy. And give it to Wyndham Clark. He certainly was not the fan favorite all week, but on Sunday, especially grouped with Scottie Scheffler, the crowd was really tough on Wyndham. And I think that's unfortunate. I know and I understand that he's had a few bad moments and has showed some anger on the golf course. But if the people that are out there watching that tournament are golfers, and I would guess a lot of them are, can you tell me that you've never shown anger, that you've never had a bad moment on the golf course? I have. I've talked about it on this podcast. So hating this guy for his worst moments, I've just got to say, take a look in the mirror. It's so easy to just go out and hate people. I don't have it in me. I think everybody has challenges. Everybody's unique. Everybody has bad moments. And I don't know. I was hoping, I just wanted to see good golf on Sunday. I wanted to see somebody press him. Towards the end, I was hoping he would drop another stroke and we'd see a playoff with Wyndham and Sam Burns. But that's not so much because I wanted to see Sam win. I just wanted to see more golf, and a playoff would have been exciting. But Wyndham held it together. And again, down the stretch, quite a few shots in the fescue, deep rough. He continued to find his way out, continued to make big putts. And I don't know. How do you hate that? How do you hate a guy that went out, battled the course, played the best field in the world, and walks away again as a 2-time U.S. Open winner? I thought it was impressive. And almost more impressive than if he had just gone out and been lights out good, hitting fairways and greens and making putts. He battled. So congratulations, Wyndham. Really enjoyed the US Open. Like I said, my favorite golf tournament of the year because it is a lot of fun to see the best players in the world struggle. And it was a challenging weekend. Speaking of challenging weekends, I got out and I played 2 rounds of golf this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And spoiler alert, my quest to break 80 continues. On Saturday, played with Jason. Al was still not feeling well from last weekend. So 2 of us, Jason and myself, and we were joined by another single. And it was warm. It's South Florida. It's summertime. Even though we teed off at about 7:30, it was hot. It was humid early, and the heat had gotten to Al last weekend. The person that we played with this weekend, interestingly enough, kind of same thing. I think it was hole 14. He had enough and said he was going to call it a day. Jason and I joked. We said, man, we are wearing people out here. We can't get somebody who can finish 18 holes of golf with us. But it's easy to underestimate. It is easy to underestimate that heat. And again, usually you think, well, I'll get out early in the morning before it gets hot. It's hot, man. This time of the year, it's the one thing that's different here than, because it gets hot everywhere around the country. But generally, it's a little cooler first thing in the morning and the heat ramps up throughout the day. It's warm right out of the gate. And on Saturday, not a cloud in the sky. We really didn't get a breeze. These summertime rounds of golf are a combination of playing golf and trying to complete an Ironman. It is grueling. So I'm not sure how it impacts score, what it adds to the round of golf, but from a concentration standpoint, when you're standing over a shot and sweat is dripping off your forehead onto your sunglasses, it can be tough. It could be tough out on the course on the summertime. But anyway, I thought that Saturday I hit the ball really well, shot 90 on Saturday, and that was not a great front. So shot 48 on the front, 42 on the back for a 90. And the story of the day on Saturday was, and I talked about Scotty hitting one out of the bunker and having it roll back down to his feet, was bunker play on the 3rd hole on Saturday, which is a par 3. Put my tee shot in the front bunker on the left and had probably 30 feet. I was kind of at the very beginning of the bunker to get out of the bunker and onto the green. Hit my shot, and I would guess it carried 29 feet, 6 inches, hit the lip of the bunker, and rolled back in. And it's funny. After the first shot, I just said, man, I can't be upset with that shot. I hit it exactly how I wanted to hit it. Hit the sand, made a good sound. I just needed it to carry 6 more inches in it, and it didn't. But ended up making a triple on the 3rd hole. Get to the 8th hole, hit another bunker, make another triple. 9th hole is par 5 where you've got to carry water on your way into the green. One of the really hit driver well most of the day. Did not hit a good drive on 9. Short, nearly out of bounds left. My next shot, I hit too far right and I had a choice to make. I was still about 185 yards out from the center of the green, in the rough, on the right, had to carry over trees, over water to get to the green, or I could have tried to chip back out into the fairway, but I went for it and missed and put the ball in the water. and made another triple on 9. Made the turn, cleaned up a lot of the mistakes, shot 42 on the back. So on Sunday, was back out again. It was supposed to be Jason and I, but Jason had sent me a text and said that his daughter had a problem with her car. He needed to take care of it, would not be able to play on Sunday. So on Sunday, got to the golf course around 8 o'clock for an 8:30 tee time, was paired up with another single, was Mark, who said he was a 12 handicap, teed off together, and it was an interesting day. It's an interesting day because I play golf with a lot of the same people over and over and over again. So on Sunday, I got an opportunity to play with someone different. Jason is more like an 8 handicap. I am currently sitting at 17. So to play with someone who was a little closer to my level. And I'll tell you what, I felt like throughout the day, and we talked last week in the conversation with Jared about your A game, your B game, your C game. I felt like my A game was every bit as good as his A game. And in some ways, a little better. My C game was worse than his C game. I just made bigger mistakes. And that's the difference. That's the difference between being a 17 or a 12. But the really interesting piece of this comes in that, so we play the first 2 holes. It was quiet. I was surprised. Not a lot of people on the golf course. I expected to be busier on Father's Day. We're on the tee box on the 3rd hole, which is a par 3, and a car comes up from behind us. And it is a lady, and her name was Deborah. And she said, "Hey, do you mind if I play in with you guys?" And we said, "Sure, no problem. You're welcome to join us." So Mark tees off. I think he hit the green, went over the green a little long. I hit my tee shot, put it on the green, had about 15 feet uphill for birdie. And then Deborah playing from the ladies' tees. And I'll say that Deborah, I would guess, was late 60s, early 70s. She hits her tee shot onto the green, left of the pin, about pin high, probably 25 feet for birdie. So we get to the green. Mark chips up and on. Deborah's away from 25 feet. She lines up, really interesting putting stance. So her feet tight together and then angled towards the hole, and her shoulders turned towards the hole, almost like she is putting head on facing the hole. But when she putts, she turns and she doesn't look at the hole. She's looking down at the ball. So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, wow, this is a really interesting putting stance. And from 25 feet, she drains a birdie putt. I go on to miss my birdie putt, tap in for par, but it was the beginning of a really interesting day on the golf course. So what made it an interesting day on the golf course? Well, honestly, it was Deborah. As the day went on, it became apparent that she was a player. She was a golfer. And we learned more about her as we went. She's been playing golf for a long time. She does play tournament golf, but there were little things in her game that I noticed. And one of those was she really has a routine. Every tee ball, and again, I watched intently, same routine through every tee shot, over putts, over approach shots, very disciplined in her routine. Number 2, she finished out everything. And she said that a lot of times when she plays with friends will say, we do it. That's good. We're good. But she finishes everything and just believes that it's good for her putting. And when she does play tournament golf, she's not going to get gimmies. So she is always in tournament mode. So followed her lead and we finished everything out. There were no gimmies. And I thought it was a good practice. It was good to finish out the putts. And well, I think each of us probably missed at least one inside of 3 feet that would have been a gimme in some circles. And I don't know, I kind of liked it and think that it's something that I may carry forward. But I would guess that Deborah probably shot somewhere between 78 and 82 on Sunday. Now, again, playing from the ladies' tees, she's got, depends on the hole, a 30 to 100 yard advantage on most holes. But, but again, we're talking about, a woman who's half my size and probably 10 to 15 years older than me. But what really struck me is she was never in trouble. And she probably hit, of the 14 possible fairways to hit, I would guess she probably hit 10 of the 14. The 4 that she missed, she didn't miss by much. And she hit greens. She hit fairways, she hit greens, and she was a good putter. She was never in trouble. And that sounds silly. That's not a shock. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably thinking, no kidding. If you can stay out of trouble, you can shoot good scores. But I've seen it with other people, but it really did, for some reason, it just really struck home with me that a big piece of the reason why I am struggling, at least right now, to find my way consistently into the low to mid 80s, it's not my A game. My A game is good enough when I'm driving the ball well, I'm hitting approach shot well. I thought over the weekend that I putted the ball really well. Didn't have a ton that went in, but I had a lot of 25, 30-foot putts that just missed, just burned the edge of the cup and left myself 3 or 4 feet coming back. I was happy with my putting. Jason has helped me a lot with chipping, and that has improved dramatically over the last couple of months. And actually on what I jokingly call the hardest hole in the golf course, which is the 14th hole. It's a par 3. And I've talked about it on the podcast that it plays anywhere from 115 to 135 yards. And I have a history of making double bogeys on that hole. On Sunday, my tee shot came up just a little short, and I chipped in for birdie on, again, the hole that I affectionately call the hardest hole in the golf course. On Saturday, I think it was on 15, I was a little short of the green, had 75 or 80 feet to the hole, hit just a great chip that rolled. I thought it was going to go in, rolled just by the hole and left me a tap in for par. So my short game has improved quite a bit. What's keeping me stuck in the 90s is, and I talked about on Saturday, a triple on the 3rd hole because I hit a bunker, triple on the 8th hole because I hit a bunker, triple on the 9th hole because I took a chance and tried to cover trees and waters and got crazy with it. On Sunday, the 2nd hole, it just happens every once in a while, but I hit a big slice. So there is water right, but it's a good ways right. Like you've got to miss by quite a bit. And I haven't hit a shot that far right in a while. Open club face, big slice into the water, and then end up hitting a bunker on that hole too and made a triple. 4th hole on Sunday is a short par 4, but you can actually try and drive the green, but it's 240, 245, sometimes to carry water, and then 250 to 255 onto the green. Depends which way the breeze is blowing, but there's no way I was getting there. So a lot of times I hit 6-iron, which I did on Sunday, and picture perfect, right in the middle of the fairway. Had 110 yards in and was over the ball. And this is something I've got to work on. I was not comfortable over the ball. There's just a lot of thoughts going through my head. Were my feet right? Were my shoulders right? Was I aimed properly? Was I standing too close to the ball, too far from the ball? There's sometimes where I get all this stuff going on in my head. And a 100-yard shot, again, perfect line in the fairway. I hit it, I don't know, 45 or 50 yards and into the water and made a triple there. These are the things that continue to haunt my golf game. And maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like my golf game isn't that far off from, I'm not telling you I'm going to break 80 next week, but playing some good rounds of golf. Again, been hitting driver well. I've gotten a lot better with a wedge in my hand and feel good about it. Anything less than a full club used to really be a problem, but I've gotten better at hitting 60, 70, 80-yard shots. I'm not telling you they're perfect, but I think I can put them in a place where I certainly have an opportunity to make par and shouldn't make anything worse than bogey. I have got to eliminate the blow-up holes. And I worked on that for a long time to the point of there were holes where I stopped hitting driver. And so the second hole is a good example where I said it on Sunday. I put my driver in the water. It is, again, a relatively short par 4. You don't need a huge drive. I could hit 6-iron there and have probably 140 yards in. But I've been hitting my driver well, and I've been putting it in the fairway there, and I'd rather have 85 yards. And it just, it didn't go my way. I did not hit a good drive on Sunday. The bunker game I continue to struggle with, and I will find someone to help me solve that issue. But even there, until I do, I may have to, let's say I'm just on the right edge of a bunker, just on the left edge of the bunker. Maybe I've got to chip out sideways. Maybe I've got to do whatever I need to do to get into the grass and play for bogey. And if I make bogey instead of making triple, I'm ahead of the game. I think I need to work on my decision making on. So it rained, and it hasn't rained here in quite a while. It rained really hard on Saturday night. So on Sunday, the bunkers were packed. They were like concrete. And I hit a bunker and decided that I was going to putt out of the bunker because I just didn't think there was any chance that I was going to hit a good sand shot. Not with that kind of lie. There was just no way. And I putted the ball out of the bunker a little too hard. It went to the far side of the green, but it left me 15 or 20 feet coming back. And it was a good decision. So is it embarrassing to use a putter out of the bunker? Yep. But I think that was the right club choice in that moment, in that day. And that if I can do a little more of that and I can eliminate some of these big numbers, I can start putting up lower numbers. My career best round is still an 83. And went back to look at that round of golf, and here's what it looks like. I made 8 pars, 9 bogeys, and 1 double bogey. So not a, yeah, you hear that and you think, well, that's not a fantastic round of golf. But what's not on there are triples. 8 pars, 9 bogeys, and 1 double. And I feel like that's something that I should be able to do, that I can do, that I have the skills to do on a regular basis. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? This is what we all think. But we've got to get back to thinking in terms of being out there and battling for bogeys. Bogeys, fine, where I am today, because I'm going to make pars. I know I am. I'm going to make 6, 7, 8 pars per round. And if I couple that with bogeys, I'll be okay. Maybe I get lucky. I think I made a birdie on Saturday, a birdie on Sunday. They come and go a little bit, but what really matters, what I really need is to not make triples. And one double, not the end of the world, but multiple triples, multiple doubles, they hurt. And again, I've got the ability to, my golf game is good enough to not card those kinds of things, even though I do every weekend. So that's really what I learned on Sunday with both of my playing partners, but specifically watching Deborah, really disciplined in her process, the same thing, addresses the ball the same way each and every time. And she just stayed out of trouble. Yes, I can hit the ball 100 yards further than her, but it doesn't matter if that 100 yards is way out right or way out left, where her shots are middle of the fairway. And the one place where that the distance does show up on a par five. So I think on some of the par fives, again, the women's tees are a good probably 80 yards ahead of the men's tees. And after our drives, we were in similar places. But if I'm 260 out and she's 260 out, I'm not getting there. I'm not getting to the green in two. I'm going to have to lay up. So she's fine. It's 3 shots in. It is. And it is for me too. No matter what I think, unless I get to a place where I'm 220 to 225 out, then maybe I've got a shot. But most of the time I'm not. Most of the time it is 3 shots in on a par 5. And even with being able to hit clubs not as far, she's the same thing. 3 shots in on a par 5. So again, I've committed to, and I've got my net set up in my garage again, got the Rapsodo going back, even as hot as it is, going back to hitting golf balls in the garage. My goal is to really work on ball first contact and have a couple of drills that I worked on last week. And I do. I think it's helping my iron play. And it's going to be my mantra, I think, as I go out this coming weekend, is no triples. Keep the triples off the scorecard. Let's make bogeys. If we hit an errant tee shot, my mindset has got to be, okay, that's fine. What do we need to do to make bogey on this hole? And if I can keep the triples off the card, make pars, make bogeys, I can get back to playing better golf. And again, I think I'm chipping better. I'm pitching better. The driver's been better. So again, that I say that the one thing I think my approach shots from more than say 150 yards out have been a little shaky. That's something I'll work on. My putting has been okay. Could used to be a little better on the greens, but my golf game is good enough to put up scores in the low to mid 80s. I just have to keep the big numbers off the scorecard. And I can do that. I really do think I can. Now, I'll come back on here next week and I'll tell you whether I did or didn't. But it's the secret sauce. It's not making more birdies. It's keeping the big numbers off the card. If you make a mistake, thinking, all right, what do I need to do here? I'm not worried about making par. What do I need to do here to save bogey? How do I ensure that I don't make a double or triple? That's my thinking. And I think if I can do that, I'll see my scores come down and maybe I can start to drive that handicap back down in the right direction. One last thing I wanted to mention about the U.S. Open, and I don't know if you noticed this, but Wyndham Clark's caddy wore, I think every day this week, I certainly saw it on Saturday and Sunday, but he wore a have a day hat. And if you don't know what that is, it is basically the brand, the motto from the Bob Does Sports guys. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. I know they've had Wyndham on the channel, but to see their hat on the caddy of the guy winning the U.S. Open was pretty cool. Like YouTube Golf matters and is finding its way into competitive golf, into things like the PGA. So good for those guys. I thought it was fun to see that. But anyway, that's what I've got this week. Enjoyed the U.S. Open. Learned a lot from Deborah this weekend. I hope everybody who's out there like me gets teamed up with somebody like that who can provide a reminder that the shots don't have to be these towering 300-yard missiles, that you can get it done by hitting fairways and greens. And I'm just not doing enough of that. I've got to do it no matter what that means from a club selection standpoint. So warm weekend, good weekend, as always. Looking forward to getting back out again next weekend, see if I can put some of these faults into play on the course and go out and shoot a good round to share with everybody. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Let me know what you're thinking. How do you keep the big numbers off the scorecard? And let's keep at it. It's a tough game. We saw it from the pros this weekend. It's not always easy, but man, it's a lot of fun to be out there. Thanks for being here, everybody. I'll see you next week. If you made it this far, thank you. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you hung in there for the whole show. If you enjoyed it, please rate, review, and subscribe. And maybe even share it with a friend who is out there on their own golf journey. If you listen on Spotify, leave a comment or a question, or send me an email at breaking80over50@gmail.com. I promise I'll read every one. All music was provided by Epidemic Sound. I'll leave links to any of the content that I mentioned in the show notes. Keep swinging, keep smiling, and remember, it's a game. Get out there and have fun. Thanks, everybody.